Hello and welcome to NBA Talk with Jordan Valdez. Before we get started with today's matchups, I wanted to mention something pretty funny. This actually happened a few nights ago when I was doing my NBA fantasy draft on Yahoo. Anyways, if you remember, a while back on NBA Talk, on NBA Headlines, I reported about Ron Artest changing his name to Meta World Peace. And on the Yahoo Sports Fantasy Draft, they list each player with first their last name, and then a comma, and then their first initial. Well, instead of putting Ron Artest instead of putting Ron Artest on there, the Yahoo had put World Peace, comma M. So I just thought that was pretty funny, and that I'd point that out before we get started with today's matchups. Now that I've pointed it out, let's get started with today's matchups. Our first matchup today is Chris Bosh versus Carmelo Anthony. Chris Bosh, starting power forward for the Miami Heat. He can also play center. He's a very inconsistent player. He did make the All-Star team this year. He's part of Miami's Big Three, along with Dwayne Wade and LeBron James. Um, he does have some off games. One time he went 1 for 18 in a game. So that just happens with him sometimes. He really played a little bit better back when he was with Toronto, but then he signed with Miami as a free agent in the offseason last year. He's just a very, very good player. Carmelo Anthony is probably a better scorer. He's the starting small forward for the New York Knicks. He was traded to New York in the big Carmelo Anthony trade. He was traded to New York from Denver in that trade, along with former All-Star and teammate Chauncey Billups. So they went together. So that brought some more chemistry to New York, which is why Carmelo Anthony kept scoring even when he went to New York. Probably, that's my guess, because like other players had trouble adjusting to a new team, but Carmelo Anthony seemed fine. Especially when you have the same point guard that's been with you for a while, that really helps. So I'm going to give this matchup to Carmelo Anthony. He's just a better scorer. Chris Bosh is a better defender. Carmelo Anthony is not a good defender at all, which is one of the things that really makes him not as good as he could be. But I'm still going to give the matchup to Melo. Our next matchup is Tim Duncan versus Lamar Odom. These are two players that average between 13 and 15 points per game. Tim Duncan way past his prime, starting power forward for the San Antonio Spurs. He can also play center. He has 4 rings. He was a great player in his younger days. Now he's not as good. Lamar Odom is the backup small forward, power forward for the um, Los Angeles Lakers, reigning sixth man of the year. He's just a very, very good shooter, a very good 3-point shooter, but he also has some post skills. He really comes off the bench. He gives a big boost to the Lakers. He started earlier this season when Andrew Bynum was injured, and they moved Pau Gasol from power forward to center, and they stuck Lamar Odom in at power forward, and he really proved that he could start. He can be an effective starter because he really played well there, but he still then once Andrew Bynum came up, they put him back on the bench, and he still continued to uh, consistently score, be a good scoring option for them. I'm going to give this matchup to Tim Duncan, though. I think that he has the veteran leadership that they need, and he really helps lead those Spurs. So I'm going to give the matchup to him. I think that he still has it in him, but he's starting to go downhill fast. Now let's talk NBA headlines. The New York Knicks' Carmelo Anthony thinks that the trade from Denver to New York was the right decision. Thank you for watching NBA Talk with Jordan Valdez, and I'll see you next time.